Hey y'all, welcome back to Miniature Game Montage. Today we are going to talk about a few games that people claim to be Games Workshop's best rule sets. And I have questions. Alright, it's great to have you with us. My name is Jimmy, and today we are going to talk about two games that we're looking to introduce to the channel. I've been recommended these games through comments, through emails, and really can't count the amount of times over the years that I have been recommended to check these games out. They are both from the Age of Sigmar line, and it is Age of Sigmar Spearhead and Warcry. Now, folks in the gaming communities have been recommending these for a long time. They say that they have a really good rule set and are just overall fun to play. And I'm curious as to why that is. What makes these games so fun? I recently watched a video with Jay over at Eons of Battle where he claims that Spearhead is his favorite game to play right now. I am actively painting up a Cities of Sigmar box set for Spearhead. I'm hoping to get some games in at my friendly local gaming store to check that out, and we'll see how that goes. But it seems like other creators and other people in the community have spoke very highly about Spearhead and also about Warcry. Now, if you've watched my channel for any period of time, you know that I am an immersion gamer. I like games that allow me to tell stories, I like immersive battlefields, painted miniatures, and I like to get those low camera angles to make you feel like you're involved in the battle. I feel like Warcry is going to be something perfect for that, and I actually scooped up this expansion, I guess is what you would call it. This is the Crypt of Blood expansion, and I got that on eBay for probably $30 with the miniatures and some tokens included. I actually took the time to paint up the vampires yesterday, which I'm really excited. The models look beautiful, and I got all of these painted up yesterday, and I hope to get the other guys painted up today so we can maybe have a proper battle here in the near future. In reading through the book, it sounds like Warcry would be something that is perfect for the channel because it is narrative driven and it allows you to really tell a story. I do have some concerns, however, about the terrain, the battlefields, and generally just where to start, because Warcry has been around for quite some time. There have been numerous expansions. I did have questions on the terrain, which I also received in my eBay purchase, and it's pretty run-of-the-mill, just I'll call it little dinky 2D terrain, for lack of better terms. So I guess my initial question regarding this box set is, can you use 3D terrain elements to really bring battlefields to life? Spearhead tends to use similar terrain where it's just some fences or some barricades, and that is pretty much it. And it doesn't really do a ton for me for that immersion factor that I'm looking for in a lot of my games. I'll use Necromunda as an example. When they relaunched the game back in 2017 and the game just came on a 2D board and you just had bulkheads and you kind of had to imagine just using the board layout, kind of where the walls and columns were, that did not do it for me. I had no interest in playing that. It was kind of like a board game, if you will. But when they released Dark Uprising later on and it had the full 3D elements of the terrain and you felt like that you were there, that is when my eyes opened and I said, hey look, this is a game that I want to play. So I guess my big worry in looking at Spearhead specifically is it tends to only use that terrain. It doesn't feel very alive and immersive. So that's an initial question I have. I would love to have your feedback down below. Is it just the rules and the quickness of play that make this game very good? Is it the balance? Or are you allowed to kind of use your terrain on the board to bring this game more to life? And I think I have the same question for Warcry, especially the Crypt of Blood box set that I'm kind of working out of, and it just has those small little fence terrain elements and things like that. Are you able to build that more immersive battlefield and still get a good core experience out of the game? I do know that Warcry over the years, it was really well supported up until I guess maybe the last year or two. But that leads me to my next question is, where do I start? Is Crypt of Blood for Warcry a good place to start? Do I need to look at some other box sets? I do know that Warcry is potentially getting some updates. That's been the rumblings at least. But genuinely, there's been a ton of Warcry content over the years. You know, where do I start? How much has it changed since the beginning? A lot of questions that I have. Now, I think from a narrative aspect, Warcry is going to be fantastic for telling a story, and that's what I like to do with my game time. I like to roll dice and play games, but for me, it's all about the story-driven elements. It's the feeling, or the, me envisioning what is happening and letting the dice, just dictate, if that shot misses or hits, and then all the consequences of why that happens. That is why I love playing these games. I love telling the stories, and more so I love sharing them with you. I think Warcry is going to be absolutely fantastic for that. On Spearhead side, I'm guessing that's a little bit different, because that is, I guess I will call it a competitive game. You've just got two players that are, fielding two armies against each other, and you're trying to complete objectives. Obviously, there's a lot of lore and fluff behind Age of Sigmar to where you can make those stories, but I don't think it's going to be as story-driven as something like Warcry that includes a book, or Necromunda that's giving you all this background depth. I could be totally wrong, but Spearhead, probably just that slimmed-down version of Age of Sigmar, giving you that quicker style of game. Either way, we're going to try both of these games out, and I would love to know your feedback down in the comments below, especially on where we should start, things we need to look at. The battlefield immersion, is Age of Sigmar just limited to kind of the elements that you would find in the latest box sets? Is Warcry, can that be opened up and really created on some immersive boards without, I guess, breaking the game, so to speak? So those are all questions I have, and I would love to have your feedback down below. So hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Supporters Club, your names are on the screen now. That's by no means necessary. If you watched the video this far, you've done more than enough to support the channel, so thank you so much, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.